think we're live. Hello, hello. Welcome to Turn 15. Round 14 of the F1 Championship this year, 2024, takes us to Belgium, Spa, one of the best circuits in the world, one of the most fabled, fantastic circuits on the Formula One calendar. Should be an absolutely classic race. I certainly hope it'll be a classic race, but it's shaping up to be a good one as well. First point, the McLarens are not on the front row. They're not even on, well, one of them's on the second row. Second point, Verstappen is down in 11th. So we've got fast cars coming through the field. That's just a quick little spoiler. Anyway, hope you're doing well. How are you? My name is John Wayne Gretzky. Why not? So, Leclerc on pole today, Perez second, Hamilton third, top three. That looks actually pretty interesting, to be honest. Leclerc on pole. It's a decent lap out of him yesterday. It was only second because Max got the pole, but he's got a grid drop this week for new engine bits. He's starting to run out of parts of his Honda. Anyway, Leclerc starting first, Perez second, Hamilton third. That sounds spicy. Better than that, Norris fourth, Piastri fifth, Russell sixth. Norris, Piastri, I'm expecting to be a very big factor in the race. Exactly how big, we'll see. I've been thinking all week, I've been feeling it all week. I know Verstappen had the penalty coming. I get the feeling it could be a Norris win today. But to be honest, I'm looking at that top five and Verstappen, and I'm thinking maybe any of them could win the race. Probably not that much Leclerc, but definitely even Checo. I think Checo's got a good chance, probably his best chance all season of winning a race today. Starting second, Max is way behind. I know this happened in 2022, and he got absolutely destroyed. I know it happened in 2023 as well, and Checo got kind of wrecked. Third time's a charm, maybe? Who knows? Very, very crucial weekend, this one for Checo as well. From what I'm hearing, Red Bull bigwigs, Helmut Marko, Christian Horner, them lot, they are going to have a meeting tomorrow, if we're to believe all the rumours, and I think there is a lot of merit to these rumours. There's a meeting going on tomorrow which discusses will Checo stay out the rest of the season. Now that is absolutely massive, and it's gotten to this point because Checo has had, since the Chinese Grand Prix, really, when he finished third from memory, he's had an absolutely rubbish run of form. Really, really bad. I think in that time span he scored only, 15 to 20-ish points, somewhere around that. So really, really poor. It's poor. He had a great start to the season. Not a fantastic start to the season. I know a lot of people said Checo's back to his best, but to me, Checo's best is beating Max at Baku in 22. It's not, what's gone on here this season. So I've got a lot of radio interference here. Here we go. So a lot of chatter on the way to the grid from a whole lot of the drivers, just about a whole lot of technical nonsense. Doesn't look like anything is going to be ruining anybody's race yet. There's a bit of oil coming out the back of one of the Mercedes, but apparently it's just an overfill of oil. Nothing to worry about, we hope. We really hope, because having a Mercedes third and sixth today makes the race a lot more interesting either way. Checo, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Checo. Honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised if he keeps the seat. Red Bull are a total wild card, though. Very volatile. It could go any which way. And if he were to get the sack, I get the feeling, I'm hearing again, that it's going to be either Lawson or it's going to be Ricciardo in that seat. Tsunoda's basically never going to get it, and Red Bull basically doesn't have anybody else that they can call on. So in order to shore up their Constructors' Championship position, they need a decent number two. They need somebody who is constantly racking up podiums, maybe even racking up wins if Max can't. And they haven't got that with Checo this year. He's had a few podiums at the start of the year, then he's fallen off a cliff. McLaren has caught up in that time. Mercedes has really caught up in that time. Even Ferrari is starting to drop back, to be honest. But they're still there. They're there or thereabouts, and they're usually ahead of Checo. So we'll see what happens. Big, crucial moment for Checo, and he usually produces the goods when his back's against the wall. It's how he's stayed at Red Bull all this time, because he's had this before. To me, if it gets, it's a bit like in the soccer, when you hear of like a manager needing to win the next game in order to keep his job. It's sort of like, if it's gotten to this point, it's kind of bound to turn rotten again very soon, and maybe if he does win that next game, the one after that, as soon as he starts losing again, it's going to really come into question. So Summer break coming up, 4 weeks off. Then we're back for 3 more races, and then there's another 4 weeks off, actually. So there's almost like 2 summer breaks. Maybe an autumn break before we go racing in North America after the European season's over. So could that mean a stay of execution for Checo? We'll see. We'll see. Maybe he gets another couple of races. Who knows? We'll see. But Red Bull are keen to sort it out, and I think me, as a fan, I'm very keen to see where this all goes. Anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Norris, Piastri, Russell, Sainz in 7th. It was a tricky qualifying yesterday. Sainz in 7th, who is running on hards today. So that's an interesting little strategy mix-up. Alonso in 8th, Ocon 9th. Great lap out of Esteban Ocon, actually. And Alex Albon in 10th. Verstappen 11th. That car is quick. That car is very, very quick. It's even quicker than I thought it would be. Max usually goes very well at Spa. He's very quick here. The Red Bull has been very quick here the past few years, so we'll see what he's got today. Everybody on the grid, and who am I to argue, they all say that the McLaren is the fastest in race trim. You know, over a race distance, McLaren looks like the fastest car, and it's kind of hard to argue with that. The starting 4th and 5th, they kind of sacrificed their qualifying speed for a better race trim. So let's see how it goes for them. Gasly 12th. 9th and 12th isn't that bad for Alpine. There's actually a lot of news about them as well. Ricciardo in 13th. Just didn't get the timing right for his quali lap in the garage when the times were coming down. So bad luck, Ricky. More speed in him, I think. And then Bottas 14th. Stroll 15th. A bit mid from Stroll there. Hulkenberg 16th. K-Mag 17th. And Sargent, Joe, Tsunoda 20th. Tsunoda with a shitload of penalties for new bits. There's Max on the grid. As always, watching along with the Sky broadcast. Now, before we head off on the warm-up lap, and that'll be... The time always goes. I always think that I'm going to get everything that I want to talk about out before the race starts, but it never quite ends up that way. I just end up babbling on. Oh well, as long as you all aren't bored. In the week or so since the last race, Ocon has been confirmed at Haas, which we all saw coming, I think. It was basically the no-brainer deal once Alpine said that he was out. I think Haas was very, very quickly the destination that everyone thought he would end up at, and he's ended up there. Multi-year deal, so we'll see what that means. I get the feeling it'll be a 2+1, maybe a 3+1 if they're feeling very generous. It's Haas, so I'm going to say it's a 2+1 deal. So 25, 26, option of 27. We'll see how they are. Either way, Esteban Ocon is staying on the grid for a little bit longer as the grid here at Belgium empties a little bit. Formation lap should be taking off very, very soon. What else has happened? Looking at the Ferrari, their old boss, Andrea Binotto, is back. He's back with Sauber, starting, I think, during the summer break. I don't think he's here, at least not in an official capacity for the team this weekend, but he is taking over. Andreas Seidel and Oliver Hoffman, Seidel, the team principal at Sauber F1, and Hoffman, who was on the board for Audi, are gone. Dead. Flat. Finished. They're done at the team, so just a quick look at the tyre strategy. We've got Sainz on the hard, Ricky on the softs, looking for a quick start, Joe on the hards, everybody else is running a medium, so it all looks like it's been a lot of deg this week. They're reckoning about a 2-stop strategy, so we'll see where everybody goes. Let's say Ricciardo starting on the softs absolutely is going to be a 2-stop strategy, so we'll see how that goes. His strategy last time out in Hungary was complete horseshit, so let's see if they get that actually fucking right this week, shall we? Anyway, Binotto's back, Seidel's out, Hoffman's out, more importantly, Seidel is out. That's big for Audi, and we'll see. I'm starting to hear a lot of bad, I've been hearing over the course of the year a lot of bad news coming out of Audi. Things are running behind, the engine doesn't look that great after all. The progress that team needs to make just isn't happening, and as we're heading into the summer break, they are still the only team on the grid right now, and it's Sauber, not Audi, but it's effectively Audi, doesn't have an Audi engine, and it's not the finished product yet at all, but they're the only team right now without a point, and that car looks hopeless, and everything they put on the car does absolutely nothing to it. Next year is going to be crucial. If they are bringing this car mostly for next year, which a lot of the teams are going to be heavily carrying over bits for pardon me, for the cars next year before they do a whole new package launch for 2026. Could be very bad news for Audi. They really, really, really need to get something out of this car. Unless they want to try the Brawn method and just totally throw the year next season and just invest everything into 2026, which at this point I think might be the only hope for that team to do anything. Alpine look likely that... actually, Bruno Famin, team principal of Audi is... Not of Audi, sorry, of Alpine. Team principal of Alpine, who came into power at this point last year, when they sacked Otmar Safnauer, is stepping down from the team. He's going to stay involved at Alpine, stay at Renault in a different capacity. They haven't announced who's going to be in charge yet, but more importantly, Alpine, it looks like, is going to be canning the engine. So there will be no Renault engine in the back of that car, no Alpine engine, which means, amazingly, I don't know what the fuck that team's going to be anymore. They're going to be a customer team. They're thinking Mercedes engines, we'll see. There'll be a customer team with a factory backing, a bit like how Alfa Romeo was as a sticker on the Sauber, which to me is just... They say they're not going to sell the team, but it looks like looks like it's going to happen. All their actions say that they're going to sell sooner or later. And I'd say it's probably a good time to sell because the value of an F1 team in the next couple of years is only going to... I can only see it dropping. You know, it's almost hard to conceive the value of these things dropping. I mean, the value of everything will go up over time. It always does. But F1 is a very niche sport. And I don't know. I look at NASCAR and how high of a wave that was going 20 years ago. And it's nothing anymore. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, Sonoda pulls up to the grid. Here we go. I'll get to that chat in a sec. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Whoa, that's very long. Here we go. That's what she said. Great start for Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez has fucked it already. Hamilton's absolutely killed him here. Now Max is in the danger zone back there at 11th. It's very close. It's very close, but it's very clean from everybody. Who's that? Lando Norris, I think, had a terrible fucking start. Oh, he has had a terrible start. So Checo's dropped away back down to 3rd. Lando, awful start there. Really bad. So Perez... Oh, Hamilton's cutting him off there. Oh. It's very, very close. Look at George Russell here coming up. Oh, Russell's had to cuck out of it. Looks like Albon's done the same as well at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Oh, wow. That was a very interesting start. Turn 1 here is always a little bit of hazard. You know, it almost invites crashes and just clumsy sort of silly shit. Piastri copped it last year as well, didn't he, when he stuck his nose in? But it all looks very clean so far. Looks very clean. As they're coming around the Pouillon. So Leclerc's still in the lead. Lewis Hamilton 2nd. Checo Perez 3rd. So not great for Checo. He really, really, I think, needed to make the most of that start. Just couldn't get it done. Hamilton absolutely made the most of it. That was a good start. That was a great start for Lewis. And now we can set off after Charles Leclerc. I mean, coming into this race, I was sort of feeling Lando Norris, but seeing him down there in 7th now, I don't know. I mean, the McLaren's quick, but that's a bad start. It's not like the other cars are really all that slouchy lately as well. His Max near Albon. Albon's just basically going to let him through. Yeah. Not exactly opening the door for him, but he's certainly not going to try to keep him out of it. So what's that? Max up to 9th place. Oh, that's Stroll and Ricciardo getting close at La Source. Looks alright though. Looks all good between those two. Looks like a Sauber. Having a look at a... That's an Alpine this week, isn't it? I saw red and black and I thought it might have been a Ferrari. Verstappen up to 8th now, so he's passed Alonso on the run up the Kemmel Straight. Oh, Norris off. Okay, so Norris is giving that place back to Carlos Sainz. Bad start for Norris and a very bad lap and a half out of him. You know, it's a shame for Lando. So now we've got Norris and Verstappen back there. Norris down 3 places, Verstappen up 3 places. They're going to be fighting over 7th and 8th. This is the first, I think, big test of Max's afternoon. If he can get by Norris, and how quickly he can do that. Carlos Sainz is the big fly in the ointment here because he is on the hard tyres ahead of Norris and ahead of Verstappen. He'll be costing them a boatload of time. They both need to get out ASAP. They need to get past Carlos. Because he will run there, presumably very, very long. If they can't get by him, they will be stuck there for the rest of, at least until their pit stops roll around. So, end of lap 2, start of lap 3. Hamilton having a look at leader Charles Leclerc. He's very close through La Source. Very close. Only 0.3, and he's going to have the DRS too. I think we could have Lewis leading this race by the end of the Kemmel Straight here. Through Eau Rouge, up the hill, through the sweep, and on the Kemmel Straight, looks like Lewis is going to take the lead after all. Very easy, very, very easy run there. I'd love to see what happened there. But God, Leclerc looked very slow out of not just slow out of La Source, but also slow into there. Something's happened to Zhou Guanyu as well, who's just dropped down 2 places, and it looks like he's fallen off the back of the field a little bit there. What would that be? Probably going off at the end of the Kemmel Straight then. Right, so Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez, Piastri, Russell, Sainz, Norris, Verstappen, Alonso, Albon. That's a nice little shuffle of the order. Everybody's still very close together. And that's what happened to Zhou Guanyu. It wasn't an off at the end of the Kemmel Straight, it was a car dying. Now, this is what I'm talking about. That team is in a lot of trouble. Joe says that he's losing power. He's probably going to be losing his seat at the end of the year, God bless. So he's going to try to bring it back. I don't know what the fucking point is, mate. That car ain't going nowhere. Alright, what was the chat? Wonder how much the Andretti veto affected the Renault investment. Maybe. I mean, they would have been a customer, which would have been a little bit more money into the team. I mean, half the reason, from what I've heard, part of the reason the Renault wants to can the engine program is that it costs about $100 million a year compared to just buying an engine. And if they get a Mercedes engine, what would that be? About maybe 20, somewhere around 20 million a year? You know, give or take 3 or 5. I mean, it would be a little bit of extra money. I'm not sure. I mean, Renault I just don't think that they invested enough in this program. I think that they've seen every time they get a team principal who tells them exactly what it's going to cost to be competitive, they get cold feet and they shit themselves, and then they throw that team principal out. You know, Otmar didn't really endear himself to them, but he told them, you need more investment. They threw him out. Brivio, I think, was only just around almost just as furniture, I guess. I don't think anybody at Renault really listened to him. But ever since they came back in 2016 with a full, you know, when they bought what was Lotus, what used to be Renault, when they came back into the sport, they've never really pushed hard enough. They've had decent drivers. They had Fernando Alonso. They've had Esteban Ocon. They've had Daniel Ricciardo, you know. Even now, they've got Ocon and Gasly. That's not that bad of a lineup. And they're just okay to continue. Zhou Guanyu. Well, it looks like he's back up to speed on the timing screen. But he's way, way, way out. 70 seconds behind the lead now. Fuck that. May as well park it. I mean, if this is his last ever ride at Spa in a Formula 1 car, then may as well make the most of it. So yeah, in the end, Andretti, if Alpine are in the mood to sell, and that's a big if, because we don't know yet, but if they are in the mood to sell, I do wonder if. Oh, that's Piastri having a look at Checo. Doesn't quite get it done. I do wonder if Andretti could come around with a few million, maybe a couple of $100 million, and throw it. Oh, maybe probably it'd have to be closer to $1 billion. That's the thing. The buy-in to create an entirely new team is probably is probably as much as it would be to buy a team outright. The positive being that you would already have a workforce, but I mean, Andretti have built a new base at Silverstone that they want to base the Formula One team out of. So what that means for Enstone, if it goes, who knows? But oh, look at Checo on the start, very very aggressive. I think he wanted to cut across and keep Lewis behind until he realized Lewis was already there. Tell you what, Lewis looks in pretty red hot form lately, doesn't he? I think he's a bit like Mika Hakkinen in that if the car is able, you will see absolute magic out of him. But if the car isn't able, it's probably not going to send it 10 tenths. God, that was a bit of a wild ride for Max back there as well, just to replay the start there. Very wild ride. It's a shame for George Russell. Just had to pull out of it. Probably didn't even really have to pull out of it, but just sort of playing it safe today. You know. I'd say it's probably better to not force it on lap one. Um, you lose a wing, you're basically fucked. And it's such a long lap as well. It's really hard to get anything back here. Not without a safety car. Do you want to sit down? Hmm? That said, I still would like to see Andretti in Formula One. Something's moving down by my legs, says Lewis Hamilton on the radio. Ooh, dear. I mean, let's face it, everybody just had the same thought now. Everybody watching had the same thought. It's the world's one of the world's oldest jokes, but we all thought it. Everyone, maybe 99.9% of us, all thought about Lewis Hamilton's dick just then. I don't know what the fuck that makes all of us. Beavis and Butthead, maybe. Anyway, Lewis Hamilton fastest lap, Leclerc second, Perez third, Piastri fourth, Russell fifth, Sainz sixth, Norris, Verstappen seventh and eighth, then Alonso ninth, Albon 10th. It's the running order as they start lap 7. Now, it's, like I was saying, it was absolutely crucial that Norris and Verstappen both get past Carlos Sainz. Now, Carlos is keeping up with George Russell, but that isn't good for Norris and it's not good for Verstappen. They need to be getting by him and going. Well, it looks like Joe is in the pits after all. He's just not having a good season, is he? It's shit. Like, the car sucks, you know? He's probably losing his seat. He got a race in China, you know? And nobody can take that from him. He's the first Chinese to race Formula One in China. So, you know, uh, he'll always have that. He's always historic in some capacity. The first Chinese driver to race Formula One, the first one to race in Shanghai in his hometown race. So, you know, it just sucks the rest of the season has been a total bit of dog bollocks. That car just doesn't look quick at all, does it? It really doesn't. Are you purring into the microphone? Hmm? Come on. Ooh, come on. There you go. So Hamilton's starting to break away a little bit at the front here. 1.8 seconds to Leclerc. I don't think Leclerc has the pace to keep up with him. And Checo, fuck son, you were a disappointment, aren't you? 1.6 seconds now behind the Ferrari. Hulkenberg in the pits too. That's early for a stop, isn't it? On the medium tyres. Very early for a start. No, he's still going on the hards. Okay, so I guess that's a they're okay with that then. Now Ricciardo, unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's been able to use his softs. He's stuck in the DRS train that is formed behind the conductor Alex Albon. So choo-choo, dude. Another long week ahead. Another long race ahead. I mean, there's still, 32 laps here. So let's see how it goes. Is it 32? I can't do maths, it's too late. It's 36 laps. Fuck. This is why I'm not a strategist. Now Leclerc, 1.7 behind Hamilton. It's all a bit... everyone's just kind of stuck now, aren't they? Like, Alonso's falling way off Verstappen. Albon's sort of about a second and a half behind him, so I think he's just trying to preserve his tyres. Everybody else is just kind of getting stuck in a bit of a DRS train here, there or thereabouts. Doesn't look like really anybody can really make a charge for it here. So we'll keep an eye on Nico Hulkenberg, because I get the feeling the deck has been high, which means the undercut will be very powerful. In fact, I can already see Hulkenberg is 14 seconds behind Logan Sargent in 19th. He is catching that pack rapidly. They might want to... And the pack is still quite condensed as well, so I think there's going to be a big window for whoever wants to pit first. And here we go. Here comes some pit stops. That's Ricciardo, Alex Albon. Is that Logan Sargent as well? Actually, interestingly, a bit of news about Logan Sargent in the week from Marcus Ericsson, the IndyCar driver, who was teammates in IndyCar with Kyle Kirkwood, who was a fantastic pedaler himself. Piastri, plan A or B, what do you think? Don't ask. I think that might just be asking how are your tyres, but I don't really like the idea of a pit wall with all the data at hand asking their driver what he wants to do, you know. I mean, I get the feeling that's just more of a how do the tyres work. If the tyres are okay, we'll go with this. If they're feeling shit, they'd tell us another plan sort of thing, but we'll see. Yes, hello. And what was I saying? Yes, Logan Sargent. Marcus Ericsson was on a Swedish... From what I gathered, he was on a Swedish racing podcast. I'm not sure what the title is. I'm not sure I can pronounce it anyway, but... On a Swedish racing podcast, and he... Hamilton, tyres are okay, but the rears are dropping. Okay. You never know what Lewis is thinking as well with his tyres. I've seen him bullshit too many times over the years to take his radio at face value. The old fabled Bono, my tyres are gone, and then just banging in fastest lap after fastest lap. Anyway, I'll get this point out even if it kills me. As Gasly hits the pits. Logan Sargent apparently isn't talking to James Vowles. That's basically the story. As it was told by Marcus Ericsson on a Swedish racing podcast, Marcus Ericsson, who is teammates in IndyCar with Kyle Kirkwood, who is longtime racing buddies with Logan Sargent. Now, they got to the track Thursday. Logan Sargent predictably said, no, that's rubbish, that doesn't happen, and things like that. Marcus Ericsson's talking shit. I don't know, though. I don't know. I mean, I'll say it doesn't really sound in character for James Vowles, but I would also say James Vowles has tried to replace Logan Sargent twice this year already. There was word going around that he was going to replace Logan from Imola, I think, onwards, or from Spain, I forget which, but it's going to replace him a while ago with Kimi Antonelli, and that didn't happen. You know, apparently Williams were the ones who inquired to the FIA, can the debut age be lowered to 17 instead of 18, because that way they can put Kimi in the car. Or else they would have had to wait until after Spa, when Kimi turns 18 during the summer break. Well, he's not in F1, yeah, is he? Kimi Antonelli is still in F2, doing rather well in F2 actually. Not that great today, but overall doing quite well. Now Verstappen, here we go, boxing before McLaren. Oh, I wonder about this. Russell in the pits too. It's a decent stop by George Russell. A little bit slower, but not that bad from Verstappen, 2.7. It's not fantastic, but it's not catastrophic. Now, where's Albon? Oh, and they're not going to clear Tsunoda in the RB. So Russell's come back onto the track right behind the RB. That's going to hurt him. It's not what you want. Oh, he's going to need to get by him ASAP. In fact, it might just work here. On the camel straight, Russell pulls out, gets by, so at least there's that. Now, Tsunoda, I couldn't imagine will be that fighting that hard to keep Verstappen behind him either. So Russell out in 12th right now, Tsunoda 13th, Verstappen 14th. So they've cleared Albon, which is good. It means that they didn't get undercut themselves, but this is absolutely crucial. Oh, Hulkenberg bullying one of the Alpines, it looks like. Who's that? Gasly. No, the Hulk's on it. He's feeling it. He's really feeling it. So Norris is going to have to pit here. Oh, that's really close. George Russell trying to get past Kevin Magnussen there. Doesn't quite get it done. It's going to have to get it done up here, though. The run through Blanchimont into the old bus stop. Hamilton in the pits. Oh, side by side through Blanchimont. Fuck, that makes me nervous. Ever since that Bertie crash back in the day. Oh, looks like Piastri's in the pits. Norris has not pitted. Oh, okay. McLaren are still doing interesting things with their pit stops then. Hamilton out behind Ocon. Checo out. Oh, George Russell has gotten Piastri then. Well, that undercut bloody works then. I don't know what the fuck you're going to do with Norris now, because if he pits, he's definitely going to fall behind. Oh, Piastri on the inside of George Russell. Oi, oi, at the end of the straight. Got him. So Oscar's right by him again. Leclerc, box. Okay, let's see how far down Leclerc drops here. They really have to respond to Lewis Hamilton. I mean, you'd hope, if you're running second, basically your only chance is to undercut to get by. So I'm surprised that they've actually been caught by Mercedes pitting first there. Unless they just figured that Mercedes would run a bit longer. Leclerc saying, if we're going to get undercut, let's go long. I agree. The only thing you can do now is just throw a Hail Mary and see what you can get. Maybe while a lot of this jockeying for position is going back in the pack, maybe there's a chance of a safety car. Leclerc pits. Hey. Yeah. So I think Leclerc, it's not going to happen on those tyres. I just think he's going to keep losing too much time. I mean, really, Leclerc should have pitted first. He should have pitted first. Maybe they could have pitted. They could have used science maybe as a deterrent from Hamilton pitting. Yeah, Leclerc's well behind Hamilton here. Nah. And here we go. Look at Piastri on Perez. This for Checo's career, possibly. And Oscar is just going to brutally pass him there. Oy. Checo, fuck, mate. I mean, I was saying before the race started, it's probably his best chance to get a win. The car is good. You need a bit of balls and a bit of magic to make it work. But starting second on the grid is great, but when you fucking start losing positions pretty much from the start, well. And now Max Verstappen is what, less than 2 seconds behind him. Now what is this? A replay of Hamilton coming out ahead of Piastri. I don't think that's. I don't know if they're insinuating that was a dangerous release, but it looked pretty perfect to me. Verstappen, Tsunoda. Well, maybe Tsunoda's not just going to let him right by. I don't think Verstappen really wanted that much of a toe down the Blanchimont. I think he just wanted to get by Tsunoda race up. It's a replay of Verstappen getting by. Who would that be? K-Mag. So, Alonso's in the pits now. So the first round of stops are done almost. Carlos Sainz still has not stopped running on the hards. Norris has not stopped running on the mediums. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking with Lando now. Unless they think that they can switch into a one-stopper or something. McLaren's Achilles heel the past few races has been their pit strategy. And I think they might have missed the boat here. They did well getting Piastri past Perez, but if their race is with Verstappen, then they might well have missed the boat in keeping Norris ahead of Verstappen. We'll see. I mean, again, they've got more info than I do, but from outside it looks like they might have been caught a bit with their pants down and now they just have to roll with it. You know? Norris 100% pace. So says his radio, so they're probably going to pit him after this if they're not concerned about keeping his tyres around much longer. It's going to drop him way down, though. He's going to come out behind Russell and Verstappen, I think. Oh. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Sainz is the interesting one here because he's completely off strategy here, so I wonder what he'll be doing. I get the feeling Sainz will be stopping the one time then. I mean, you never really know with Ferrari what they're thinking strategy-wise, but I get the feeling it'll be Sainz stopping once. Hamilton, Leclerc, Piastri, Perez will all be stopping twice, and they will all be gunning for Sainz late in the race. I get the feeling that's what it will be. Let's see. So lap 15 here, 1/3 through the race already. Stroll complaining about his straight line speed. Yeah. That car has not been that quick this season, has it? The Aston Martin. It's completely fallen off from last year. Albon getting past Yuki Tsunoda there at the end of the Camel Straight. Alpines are getting close with each other. They have fucked my brain this week, switching to a red and black livery. Just, I keep thinking they're the Sauber from a couple of years ago. Or from last year, I think. Oh, yellow flag, Sector 3. Who is this? Sector 3? Green flag, okay. I was going to say, nobody's in Sector 3. I think a marshal's probably dropped his fucking cigarette on the track and went out to go get it. What they've done to the track on the corner before Puon is doing my head in. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Apparently it's called the Jackie X corner now. That like sort of double entry to it. It does look fucking weird. I think they use it for bike races. I'm pretty sure that's what they use it for, but it does look fucking strange. I tell you what, this track has been really fucked with over the years. Really fucked with. I mean, here I am looking at Verstappen on the onboard, going through down the front straight through La Source, and I'm just seeing acres of space. You know, long gone is that Armco barrier that went right up alongside the track, and La Source being a really, really tight corner with a really tight barrier on the outside of it. Through Eau Rouge, where there's just acres of space on both sides. You know, the barrier on the inside now has been pushed way, way in. I mean, it's a lot less dangerous than it used to be. It's also a lot less of a challenge, I think, than it used to be, which is as much the cars getting better. We're dealing with the track as anything. It's I don't know. Science, what are you fucking doing, buddy? Okay, so that's what that yellow flag was. Science went off just a little bit. That's Stavalo. Okay, that's what Carlos Sainz does not need. It's probably cost him about a second there. Esteban Ocon v Pierre Gasly here into La Source. It's so fucking strange seeing a gravel trap on the outside of La Source. It's very, very strange. I remember back in the day it was just Armco. I mean, fuck, I remember that race in 98 where there was that massive pile up, and fuck, I remember more than anything trying to play it on a Nintendo 64 game, and the barrier was so close to the outside of the track. I just thought, how the fuck do they actually do this IRL? Norris for radio. They're saying that they're trying to undercut Carlos Sainz. They're so far off the back of Verstappen here. Even if they do undercut Carlos Sainz, they've still not done anything. You know, they went into this pit window 7th and they're going to come out of it 7th. The worst thing is they've been passed by Verstappen. I mean, they're between last week having Oscar, you know, win the race, and then this week, I think McLaren's doing everything it can to make sure Norris just never features in this title fight at all. Not even a pretend whiff. Verstappen being told to have a go at Russell and Perez, so they're probably telling Verstappen, don't take too much out of your tyres. They might even be trying to run him to the end here. Or maybe they're just worried that they won't be able to get that car to its next pit window without shredding the tyres if they have too much of a go, but fuck, I mean, I think just let Max do his thing. I thought Max would be just radio to Norris there about strategy. Kind of surprising to see Verstappen still down there in 7th. By this point, the last couple of years, he was already in the lead. I mean, it shows just how hard it is to get through a DRS train, but also just how much Mercedes and McLaren and the lot have all caught up to Red Bull. I mean, honestly, I think Red Bull kind of missed a trick with their car this year. It's mostly a new concept. It's very different from their last couple of cars, and it's just not got that real competitive advantage. I know they were afraid of getting caught by the pack if they just stayed with the same thing, because, you know, if you run one core package and you make it faster and faster, there's only so much you could ever get out of it. But I get the feeling they probably could have got more out of that package than switching to whatever the fuck this thing is. It's not been that great. Okay, on board Pierre Gasly here. So my little kitten is putting a hole in my knee. Thanks, buddy. Pierre Gasly just getting past the Haas there. It was Hulkenberg? Yep. I thought Haas would have been a bit more competitive this weekend, but they've never really looked close. It's not really come to the races at all, have they? No pun intended. Albon looks alright though, down there in 9th, Ricciardo in 10th. Again, so regarding Ricciardo, Checo, all of that, from what I've heard, the latest thing going around is a rumour going on. Basically, there's a filming day that's coming up. They're going to use it as a shootout. Ricciardo v Lawson. Whoever gets the fastest time on that day will end up replacing Checo Perez. I don't think... Well, Science Radio, Plan B. We think they cannot go to the end. So it is just going to run Science as a one-stop. Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I get the feeling. I still get the feeling it's this guy we're riding on board right now with Daniel Ricciardo, who will be if they ditch Checo, and a day like today, like he's not really making a decent case for being kept in there. I get the feeling if it were Verstappen who started second, he would not currently be fifth. I'll put it that way. Um, they don't need another Verstappen, but they need somebody who, at the very least, if he starts second, is going to finish minimum of third. And it doesn't look like Perez is going to get that. In fact, Russell is right behind him. Verstappen is right behind Russell, so if Russell gets Checo, Verstappen will get him too. We'll see. We'll see. I do get the feeling if they ditch him, it'll be Ricciardo. It's a hell of a situation to throw Lawson into. I think Lawson's quick. Exactly how quick, we'll see. I mean, he's never convinced Red Bull to just give him the seat, which they could have done. They could have done it last year. They could have done it this year. They could have given him the Ray Toro Rosso, whatever, seat, and they didn't do it. They could have given him another seat. They didn't do it. So they could have kept him on when Ricciardo broke his hand. They could have kept him on and said, sorry, Ricky, this one's a star. But again, they're just not convinced of him. I've heard it's a bit of a power struggle thing as well. Lawson is a Helmut Marko guy. Ricciardo was a Christian Horner guy. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I just think Ricciardo, as Russell's taken a good look at Perez here. Eyeing him up. Just waiting to make his move. Doesn't make it by this lap, but we'll see. Anyway, I get the feeling Ricciardo would be probably a more safe pair of hands. Again, they don't need another Verstappen. They've already got one. What they need is somebody who's going to be a generally safe pair of hands, and I think Ricciardo is that. Of course, if Ricciardo comes in to that Red Bull seat and then starts qualifying 8th or 9th, I'll fucking retire this helmet up here, I think. Esteban Ocon getting by Alonso there. Fuck, Aston Martin are having a dog shit day, aren't they? Really, really not good. Really not good. Now, driver market, I don't even know if it's worth talking about. Nothing's really been solved yet. Everyone's still waiting on Carlos Sainz, who's just hit the pits. Ooh. So what's it going to be? Medium tyres. Can he get... They can't get to the end, surely. Unless he's going to stop again and put on softs at the end. How far could he take them? You probably get on a rubbered track, and this track has been washed clean a good couple of times this weekend. So it's not as rubbered in, which means it's harder on the tyres. It's a long lap as well with high-speed corners, which is hard on the tyres. It's Russell having another look at Perez, and he's passed him. At the end of the Camel Straight, it seems like it's the favourite passing spot. This afternoon, he's through. Russell up to 4th, Checo down to 5th, Max Verstappen right behind him in 6th. I can't imagine Max Verstappen is going to hang around all that long. Behind Checo Perez, Nico Hulkenberg in the pits and out again. Oh. I get the feeling it's not. Look, on paper, finishing right behind Max Verstappen is exactly what Red Bull needs, but what they need is that to happen in first and second place. Um, I mean, Perez, he's had okay speed. Like, he had okay speed in Hungary. He had a decent recovery of the race. The problem was that he fucking crashed in qualifying and he started way back in the pack, which was all on him. He's had a good grid position today, and he's just sent the fucking thing backwards. I don't think he's really gelling with the car. I don't think he is. I mean, I don't think that's even a secret. Perez, box, box. Okay, so that's how Red Bull's going to move him out of the way. Quick, smart. So Perez on the mediums then. Got 9 laps on those tyres. I can't help but feel that that's probably an early pit stop for Perez as well. They might have thrown him a bit to the wolves there. There's a few other riders there, other drivers. Sargent, Albon, Ricardo. I mean, all of them have been much longer on their tyres, and they're still going. Yeah. Anyway, Perez out on the hards. It's probably it for him for the rest of the afternoon. It's a bit of an ego saver, I think, maybe for Checo Perez, but I don't know. It's a shame. I think it could. I get the feeling we'll see Checo again, either in the Red Bull seat from Zandvoort through the next few races at least. I mean, I think Singapore. What is it? Baku, Singapore, Zandvoort, Baku, Singapore, I think is the next. Oh, Baku, Monza, Zandvoort, Singapore. 4 more races, and then we have another 4-week break. It might get a stay of execution. They might say, you looked like you're getting back up to speed the last few races, so we're going to let you, you know. He's signed for the next 2 years already anyway, but Perez, we are very slow on the straights. You are very slow on the straights, mate. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Checo again. But, you know, if, let's say Checo's out, Ricciardo's in, that means he won't go back to the Cash App RB. That's done. That'll be Liam Lawson. He'll be out of Red Bull entirely, and unless they want to bring him back for 25 and 26, and if they're throwing him out now, then I can't really see it. But if they, I don't think that they would ditch him halfway through this season and then bring him back for next year. I think they would just buy out his contract, or they've probably got a clause for the next contract that says, if we sack you, too bad. That said, there is a seat at Alpine. There's a seat at Williams. There's a seat at Audi. Goodness, where else? Mercedes? No, not going to happen. There's a couple of seats, I think, that are right there for him. But I would also say this goes for a few drivers here. Bottas, Ricciardo, that lot. They've been around for well over 10 years now, and that's a decent stint in Formula One. So if this is the end, so be it. Speaking of Daniel Ricciardo, here he is on board, going by Logan Sargent, up to 16th place. Again, not sure about this Ricciardo strategy here. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Either way, lap 23 now, into the second half of the race. Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Sainz, Perez, Albon, Ocon is your top 10. Alonso, Gasly, Bottas, Stroll, K-Mag, Ricciardo, Sargent, Tsunoda, and Hulk. Down to 19th, then Joe, Guan Yu, the only retirement in 20th. Sainz and Norris have just switched places on the timing line. What's that about? It's nothing. I was going to say, because Norris was a few seconds up from Sainz. Must have just missed the timing line. Which means that maybe it was a glitch, I don't know. Or either that or Norris had a little bit of a shortcut. Albon in the pits. So Norris is right now back with Max Verstappen. Now what is this? Is this, yeah, Norris missing the timing line? So that's what that was. Yeah, it didn't look like he lost too much out of that. He's still around a second behind Max Verstappen, so it could have been a whole lot worse for Norris there. It doesn't help, but might not be the worst thing. On board with Ricardo again. No, it was Tsunoda, sorry. That looked like flames on the helmet. It's a different helmet for Yuki Tsunoda this weekend. Oh, trying to get past Logan Sargent here. Oh, that's very tight. Doesn't quite get it done. Doesn't quite get it done. And into the hairpin, Tsunoda's still behind. So Hamilton leading the race, Leclerc second, Piastri third. You know, I'm getting a good feeling about Hamilton winning this race, to be honest. And, God, the irony if Hamilton and Mercedes are finally getting back in the groove and Hamilton's fucking leaving them. For Ferrari, it's going to be a hell of a thing. I mean, if you lose Hamilton, you're stoked to get the win, but you at least want Ferrari to be fighting a bit harder. Sure, Leclerc's behind him, but he's not really doing a lot. Poor Leclerc, he's just sort of stuck in no man's land forever. Charles been putting together a very decent season, to be honest. I mean, he's just got the one win in Monaco, but everything else, like, he's been generally very, very good, very quick. Usually around fourth or fifth. If not on the podium, he's around fourth or fifth. He's very solid, very solid. Maybe flying under the radar a bit because McLaren's quicker. Mercedes right now is quicker, and Max has been a lot quicker, but it's doing very well, Leclerc, this year. I mean, I think he's really established himself back over Carlos Sainz. I think Carlos Sainz definitely had the definitive edge at the start of the season. Fuck, that's out the window now. I think Leclerc's really re-established himself there. Leclerc box. Okay, so here we go. Are they going to be able to undercut Leclerc past Hamilton? Only 12 laps on the hard. So they're barely waiting for it to fall apart. Now, those are 12 very long laps, of course, but they're not really waiting around here. Oh, if they pit Hamilton this lap, that's a slow start. That's not good. 3.4. That's shit. That's not great. Now, here's Perez. I think Leclerc will have him covered. Yes, he does. Quite easily. Quite easily. So, I think Mercedes could probably put it in an extra couple of laps now and not be undercut. Oh. Now, here's a replay of the stop. So what happened? Right rear. No, left rear, sorry. Left rear. Just didn't get on right. Now, here's Ricardo. Having a look at K-Mag. And passed. So Ricardo back up to 14th. Box. Okay, so Mercedes are just going straight for it. Russell Radio, think about the one stop. Does he want a one stop from here? Surely not. Surely not. What the fuck is that with the camera? I think it just had a stroke. Jesus Christ. I know it might seem like if If it seems like it could be cool in a music video, probably don't do it on a fucking sports broadcast. Now, where's Leclerc? He's going to miss it. Yep, good couple of seconds behind. So Leclerc just has to push now. He has to push and try to force something with Lewis here, but I think it's too much. Look at that, 2.5 seconds. So it wasn't entirely the stop, but that slow stop has also kept him well out of DRS range, or even probably to catching DRS range. He's really going to have to push like hell to get back in within a second, and I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Russell one stop. I don't like the look of it. It's not. He's not got enough time on everybody else, unless he's trying to just jump to the podium or something, maybe. Unless they think that everybody else besides maybe Perez is going to stop again. Oh, Albon past the Haas. Every time I've seen a Haas today, they've been getting past. You know. I really expected a lot more out of Haas this race. They haven't done a good goddamn thing. Disappointing. Anyway. So, Albon goes sailing by a driver who is on his way out of Formula One's most pointless team. Not literally pointless, that's Sauber. What do you think, huh? Alright, they're giving Oscar a lot of encouragement here. He looks like he's been putting together something here, Oscar, and he's got clear air. Those hard tyres have done a little bit of action now, but he's quick. He's still very quick. Could this be 2 bad starts have ruined 2 Lando Norris races in a row? We'll see. We'll see. And Piastri saying clean air is king on the radio. So yes, he does have a lot of clean air in front of him, doesn't he? Clear air can really flex his muscles here. And that car's got a lot of speed to flex as well. Like Schwarzenegger at the gym. Science, box. So, 7 laps on the medium then. So they just lose. They used them until they were starting to go, and now they're just ditching them straight again. Now, there's Perez. It looks like he should get out ahead of Ocon. There goes Max out of the pits as well. 2.4 second stop. Sainz 2.6, right. So here we go. Carlos Sainz will be on the hards. Surely. Probably should have been looking at that, but surely he's on the hards. Yes, he is. That will take him to the end. Verstappen on medium tyres, 15 laps. Oh, they're going to be very used by the end of this. I mean, 15 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a very, very long lap. In fact, it's the longest on the calendar here. It's the longest on the calendar, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 maybe corners where those tyres are going to be worked really hard. No, fucking surely not. They're talking about Russell maybe going to the end of the race. Surely not. That would be a massive fucking mistake. That just would be such a big mistake. That car, those tyres, they don't got it. They just don't. It's quite a comfy race so far, this one. Norris into the pits. Oh, looks like an okay stop. What is that, 2.5? 2.4, yep. There goes Checo. There goes Max. Again, if they were trying to undercut anybody, it should have been Verstappen. Now, he's not that far behind Verstappen. 2 seconds, just under 2 seconds. Verstappen is on the mediums as well. So he will have initial pace, and he will have DRS from Perez helping him to creep away from Norris. But you'd expect Red Bull to switch those places, run Perez right behind Verstappen, doing a bit of the big smoke, keep up, motherfucker. Just to try to keep him as a bit of a rear gunner. I mean, this is really... There's Max past Checo. There we go. So this is what Checo's going to have to do. This could fucking save his seat for the next few races at least. And honestly, it would be the most Formula One thing ever if after all of this hype, all of these rumours, all of this maybe, maybe not, will they, won't they, Piastri boxing now... If after all of this anticipation, if Checo ends up keeping his seat, that would be very, very Formula One. Anyway, Checo in the pits. Russell stays out, so Russell to the lead. That's not a good stop from Piastri. I think he's completely overshot his pit box. 4.4 seconds. Fuck, Oscar. Oh, he's going to be ahead of the Red Bulls, though, it looks like. Verstappen's behind. Oh, Checo is trying to hold off Lando Norris. We'll see how much longer that can keep going, because Lando was right on the back of Checo. Oh, surely he's going to get pie on the straight. Surely he's going to get by. He's got to do it. Look at the run that he's got. Top of the hill, through the sweeper. Already passed him on the straight. There he is. This is the kind of stuff that Helmut Marko looks at and then bursts a blood vessel in his eye and throws up in disgust. Fuck. So here's on board with Piastri. Oh, really just crashed into his fucking front jack guy. Yeah, fucking bit of whiplash of that, maybe. Jesus. Well, fuck it. I mean, Piastri, he lost a little bit of time to that. Leclerc also lost a bit of time in his pit stop, lest we forget. Russell, just confirming you're happy to stay out. Yes. Oh. And all I can think is, I mean, Hamilton will pass him. Hamilton will pass George Russell. I don't think they're really fighting for supremacy at that team anymore. One is leaving, the other is the future. You know what I mean? Like, if they were both staying, I get the feeling maybe they'd fight a bit harder against each other, but there's a bit of finality to it, so I get the feeling their team harmony is actually going to be pretty alright. Norris radio. Just telling Norris to push on his tyres, that they can take it. I get the feeling Hamilton will get past George Russell if Hamilton can keep George Russell behind him in the DRS. Even with his old tyres, if he can do that, then it will help Hamilton. Well, it will help Russell. I think Hamilton's got the pace to win no matter what, but it will help Russell, it will help Mercedes. This is a track you can really pass on, though, so I really don't know you know, somewhere maybe harder to pass, like Zandvoort or something, the strategy could work a bit better. You can work the, or Singapore, like we saw last year with Sainz and Norris, just playing DRS games helped both of them. I just, surely, just Lando's pushing behind me. What do you want me to do? Says Verstappen. He's on the wrong tyres. Red Bull are saying they're happy for Max to push. Those tyres aren't going to last if he pushes. He's got 12 laps to do on the mediums. He's already been on them for, what, 3 laps now? I'm not saying it. It'd be a laugh if by staying out Mercedes told Hamilton not to attack Ross. I don't know if he'd listen. Fuck, that would be funny, though. That really would be quite funny. See, the real danger with that is just the sheer whinging you'd have to hear out of Sir Lewis Hamilton for the next fuck, the entire summer break, I guess. I don't know if it's worth it. It's only so much a human eardrum can take. Anyway, Russell 6.5 seconds now ahead of Hamilton, so Hamilton is starting to close in. 6.4 is closing a little bit. Leclerc, I think, is just stuck in no man's land. He can't really do anything. Yeah, that gap to Piastri, 1.420 seconds. So Piastri's catching just little by little. I mean, we'll see if Piastri can catch Leclerc. If Piastri can catch Leclerc, Hamilton's not that much further ahead. And that McLaren is quick. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's the other side of it is if they try to play games with Hamilton and Russell, you know, Hamilton, if he loses really any time here, he could. I mean, there's 11 laps to go. We're 75% through this race. My goodness. Amazing. It's only been running for an hour. 5.8 seconds. So, yeah, Hamilton's definitely going to catch up to Russell. I mean, kind of a no-brainer that. Piastri really is catching. If Piastri can get past Leclerc quick smart, then I think it's game on. And I think Mercedes might deploy George Russell as a deterrent to Piastri. But again, he's been on those tyres for so long. I just don't know. I just don't know if it's worth throwing the Hail Mary. He might end up third. He might end up third. He might end up fourth, which is higher up than he started, which is good. But that's a lot of a miserable ask. And now David Croft is talking about what I was talking about 10 minutes ago about the DRS games. I don't know about that working on this track, though, because you can get by. You can get by, and if you waste a lot of time, especially with Piastri with a car that quick, if you waste time, and Verstappen, I mean, a little bit further behind him, I don't think Verstappen's really going to come into this, but Piastri definitely will. If he can get by Leclerc, then he'll absolutely feature. And I don't know if you really want to be inviting games like that with Oscar Piastri also playing with doing DRS games like that, because Russell's tyres by the end of this race will be fucked. They will be absolutely fucked. I mean, there's still 10 or so laps to run on these tyres, so they are going to get more and more and more worn. I hope, because I rather like George Russell, I just hope he doesn't have a blowout. Hamilton, am I on target to beat him or not? Mercedes telling him it is close. Now that's interesting. It doesn't sound like Mercedes really have Hamilton. Unless he's talking about Piastri. Surely he's talking about Piastri. He can't be talking about George Russell. I was thinking just for a moment there that maybe they're intending on keeping Russell in front and keeping Hamilton as a rear gunner behind, because he would be more able to keep somebody behind on his newer tyres. Again, if George Russell is the roadblock ahead, he's going to be very slow by the end of this race. So we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Here comes Piastri around the outside of Charles Leclerc. Can't get it done. That's crucial right there. That is very, very crucial. 3 seconds now. 3.5 seconds. Leclerc to Lewis Hamilton. Piastri needs to get by now, this lap. He needs to make it done. If he's going to have any hope of winning this race, he needs to get by right now. I get the feeling maybe he should have just sent it. 10 of your finest. Come on, Verstappen radio, so they really want some pace out of him. Norris 1 second now behind Max Verstappen with the fastest lap. Oh, everyone's kind of converging here now. Russell 4.4 seconds on Hamilton, so Hamilton will catch him, I think, by what, lap 38 maybe lap 39. And I get the feeling once Hamilton gets to him, away he goes. Pardon me. This is it's a mildly interesting end to the race, actually. And here we go, actually. Looking just with 8 laps to go. Here's Piastri and Leclerc. Very close again. 0.6 seconds. 0.5 seconds through La Source. Now, we've seen passes from that position before, from that far back. He's going to have a whole lot of DRS helping. He's going to have a whole lot of draft down through Eau Rouge, up the hill past Dion. And here is the DRS. Surely send it to the inside. Surely send it to the inside. Ah, Leclerc's going to play games with him around the outside. He made it. Wow. That's a great pass out of Oscar Piastri. That is fantastic. Bottas in the pits. You know, I was just about to say, looking down the field, Bottas was running 10th and in the points, but fuck. Oh well. That was a great pass out of Oscar Piastri. Absolutely fantastic. And Leclerc knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to goad him to the outside, trying to say, you know, come by on the outside, and then he could just squeeze him out of where the grip is. But no, great move by Piastri there. Cold, ice cold killer he is. It's the thing with Piastri. He's never struck me as a spectacular driver. He's just incredibly effective. Almost effortlessly, almost deceptively fast. You know, he doesn't look like a Lewis Hamilton or a Charles Leclerc who really, or a Max Verstappen who really wrestle the cars, and you can see them just really wheeling the thing out of it. Piastri just has that effortless glide speed. Very effective. Very, very effective. In fact, I am more impressed every time that I watch Piastri race a Formula One car. Very, very impressed. Norris now 0.7 seconds behind Verstappen as he's running up the hill. 0.7 might be a bit far to make a move, but we'll see. Oh, it doesn't look like he's going to do anything this lap. So Norris still behind Verstappen. You know, that's going to be a disappointment for Lando. If the best he can do is get by Verstappen today, then, you know, he already started the race ahead of Verstappen, so it's not great. It's not great. Really not great. I got the feeling Lando would win. I really got the feeling he'd win, and I got to tell you, that's a bad fucking start. It's a bad start. It all comes down to that. I was feeling Lewis Hamilton before the weekend. I don't want to sound like a Monday morning quarterback, but I really was feeling Lewis Hamilton before the weekend. Mercedes has been shipping a whole lot of time on the straights, but it just looked like everything has played into their hands. Norris had a bad start. Leclerc was holding up Piastri, and Perez was holding up the cars as well. I think Hamilton made a decent run for it, and he just made it work. Made it work. I don't think Lewis has had the fastest car today. I don't think George Russell has had the fastest car today, but they very likely are going to finish. They could well finish first and second, to be honest. Just looking at this, Piastri 5.6 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. Now, the interesting thing is, do Mercedes let them race, or do they tell them hold position? Because Hamilton's going to have a hell of a speed delta over Russell, surely. This is very interesting, actually. It's a very interesting end to this race. Norris having a bit of a half-hearted look at Max there. Came out of his draft on the straight, probably sick of the sight of Max Verstappen's arsehole there. It's pretty much seen nothing but most of the season. It's going to be having nightmares of that Oracle rear wing. Chasing him like the boogeyman. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz, just looking down the order, is... Oh, here we go, on the screen as well, is right behind Checo Perez, who's running in 7th. It's a shame. It's a real shame. Now, what is this? Daniel Ricciardo? Is that Ricciardo getting past... No, that's Ocon getting past Stroll. Okay. I mean, I think I get the feeling moving Checo out of the way for Max has compromised him today. I think the team knows that too. I think the fact that he started 9 places up from Max and he's going to get beaten is pretty damning, to be honest. And it's not the first time or even the second time that it's happened at this track. It seems to be a running theme. I don't know. Now, the good thing for the good thing for Red Bull today is that McLaren aren't going to make it a 1-2. They could have coming into the weekend. They look like they had the fastest car. After Friday, they look like they had the fastest car. They're not going to do much with it. A 3rd place and a 6th place is not doing a lot with it. If Norris gets by Verstappen, and here's Sainz on Checo, makes it work. Sainz is ahead. Checo down to 8th. Great for Sainz. Love you, mate. But bad news for Checo. Really, really bad news. That's probably the last thing he could have wanted. I mean, just looking at that top 8, you got the top 4 teams, and Checo was right, plumb last of all of them. I don't even know if it's worth pitting him to try to get the fastest lap. I mean, it could well be. Because Norris has the fastest lap, so maybe Red Bull will try that with only a couple of laps to go. I mean, what's Alonso on 25? I mean, Alonso's on very old, hard tyres. He should not be catching Checo here, so we see if he does. I wouldn't be that surprised if Checo actually ducks into the pits with a lap or 2 to go here. Hamilton 1.234 seconds behind George Russell now on lap 40. This has got to be it, surely. Hamilton's going to get by George Russell unless they wait for the last lap. Piastri's 4.8 seconds. That is a while back, but I get the feeling if Hamilton leaves, I think Piastri could catch and pass Russell. That is the big thing. What are Mercedes going to do? They need points. They do need points. They've had a rough start to the year. They need all the points they can get for the rest of the season. It's very, very important for this team. .1 seconds. So McLaren telling Oscar that he wants to be there, or he will want to be there when Hamilton and Russell get close. Now, they fight each other quite hard, to be honest. So 4 laps plus change to go here. Russell and Hamilton have fought each other quite hard in the past. They fought, last year in Suzuka and in Spain. They had Cummings together, and it's not been an entirely harmonious partnership between the two. You know, I've said before, it's just a shame that they couldn't fight each other for the championship. I mean, I don't think Lewis has really established himself over Russell like I think a lot of people maybe thought that he would. Maybe, you know, they've been fighting the car more than each other, really, this whole time. So I don't think it's like the fairest comparison. You know, if they were really going at it for the championship like Lewis used to do with Nico Rosberg, maybe it'd be a bit more fun for all of us. So Piastri, 4.3 seconds. Hamilton, what's Russell going to do? Half a second, 0.7 of a second. Surely Hamilton's going to get by him. Make sure you give each other plenty of space. So they're letting him race, but I mean, if Russell wants to drive like a bit of a dick, he can maybe have Hamilton back out of the move. I'm not sure Hamilton really gives a shit if he's leaving at the end of the year anyway. And I mean, I just don't think Russell's going to have enough of a tyre left at all to really fight him. Piastri now 4 seconds behind. That's a hell of a gap. I don't see it. I had seen it. Meanwhile, Verstappen is being kept in fifth position really by Charles Leclerc. Leclerc with a bit of a DRS favour to Max there. No, Hamilton's going to get by. Hamilton's going to win this. I get the feeling it'll be probably on the run up to the bus stop. There's no point launching a surprise attack or anything like that. He's got the speed. He's going to get by, even if he has to hold back for half a lap or something. He's still going to get by. He's still going to win it. The only thing is, he needs Lewis to play. Russell needs Lewis to play ball after Lewis gets by. He needs all the DRS that he can get here. Piastri 3.3 seconds. Maybe it's not impossible. Maybe it's not impossible. Ocon's just gotten by Ricciardo. Bastard. You, Esteban the motherfucker Ocon. Stop being such a motherfucker, dude. Give my boy Ricky a point. Esteban Ocon, who is going to the Esteban Ocon of teams, Haas, in that there are kind of motherfuckers and I don't really care a lot for them, but they also have the capacity to surprise and do quite well when I'm not expecting it, so maybe a match made in heaven. We'll see. Haas with the Bearman and Esteban Ocon is going to be probably a bit of a different proposition here. Now Russell is still ahead of Hamilton here. Hamilton, who surely is going to get it done here with the DRS. If Russell, I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. What's Hamilton going to do? Is he going to go for the inside? Still doesn't get it done. I think Hamilton's just being very polite here. I think he's just being polite. I think Russell knows that as well. I just don't think... Surely not. I don't think Russell's going to have the tyres to do it. I mean, Hamilton's... What's his tyres now? 15 laps old? So they're not really great, but Russell's done 31. Surely not. 2.5 seconds back to Piastri in third. That's the interesting bit. It's a very interesting bit. Oh, you can just see him just creeping around in the background there. 2.2 seconds now. This is going to be very interesting. Are Mercedes going to tell Russell to move over? Is Russell going to listen? Can Hamilton do it? 1.9 seconds Piastri. This is very interesting, this end. Lewis is... He's not making it. He's still consistently about half a second behind when it really matters. Russell surely can't have anything left. Piastri, 1.8 seconds. 2 laps to go. Oh, I think Russell and Hamilton both went a little bit wide at La Source there. Oh. I don't know. Lewis is very far behind here. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Lewis is going to have to properly attack here. He's going to have to take a big risk. And I don't know if he really wants to do that. I mean, if you're Lewis Hamilton, would you really give a shit? You're leaving. Toto's shaky finger over the radio comms there. Oh, I don't know. I wonder. And there's Checo. Look at that. He's stopped. He's got the softs on, so he's going for the fastest lap, just like I thought he would. Piastri, 1.3 seconds. Fuck. I mean, the thing is, Piastri's so close now. I get the feeling if Hamilton gets by, then Piastri could well get by as well. Maybe that's what Toto Wolff's telling him. Maybe they're telling him, hold position. I think if Hamilton had caught him maybe a couple of laps before this, it would have been a lot easier, but Piastri, oh, he's almost right on the DRS now. Russell can't let him by. It's just basically inviting. If Hamilton gets by, Piastri will get by. And I wonder if Mercedes are thinking that. I wonder if they're thinking that. Piastri looks right on the verge almost of DRS here. Oh, he's just outside of detection though. That's not a good exit out of La Source either for Lewis Hamilton. My God, Logan Sargent has passed a car. Unbelievable. This is it. This is the final lap. It's not going to happen. Oh, or is it? Oh, this is so close. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen there. Piastri, 0.8 seconds now behind Hamilton. Oh. Fuck, this is nervy, I tell you. This is very nervy. Anyway, the big finish, so I'm just going to run through everybody as they finish later. There's no cooldown lap or whatever, so fuck it. Or is there now? I can't remember. I think maybe they changed it so there is. Who cares? Russell, Hamilton, Piastri. That's your top three. That's all that really matters here. Russell, half a second back to Hamilton. 0.8 of a second back to Piastri. I think it could well finish like this unless Lewis wants to send it into the bus stop. Through Stavolo. All three of them within about a second and a half. 1 through 3. Oh, shit. Checo, I hope for your sake, mate, that you at least kept this fastest lap. This is it. It's not going to happen. George is going to do it. Yes. Yes. Ah, amazing. Amazing. Ah, amazing. Well done. Fuck me, Dad. He made it work. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Boy George. Made it work. That's incredible. 3 wins out of 4 for Mercedes now. That is a well-earned win as well. That wasn't a gift like it was in Austria. That is an absolutely well-earned win for George Russell. That is brilliant. Hamilton beaten. Yeah. Oh, he is absolutely stoked. Bless that man. That's 2 wins. That's the most he's got in a season as well. 3rd win of his career. Absolutely fantastic. I love the fucking CrowdStrike sticker as well after the last week and a half. Oh. That is just fantastic. He's stayed ahead. I can't believe that. And no, there is no cooldown lap. This is it. So they're already in Parc Fermé. George is already getting out of the car. That is incredible. That is amazing. Hand on heart, I didn't think until maybe lap 42, even lap 43, fucking maybe even going to the final lap, I was convinced Lewis was going to get by. When he couldn't get by, the first couple of laps, I started to wonder, you know what, just maybe. And then it gets to a point where you can't just let him by because then Piastri will be right on George and you'll lose a 1-2. It'll turn into a 1-3. That is fantastic. There's Lewis climbing out of his car. Beaten today. That is a statement fucking drive from George Russell. That is an absolutely statement drive. Perfect placement of the car at the end. Perfect use of the tyres. It was his call. I'm pretty sure it was his call to go try the one stop, to try the Hail Mary, and dear God, it worked. Piastri, beaten. Fastest car, McLaren, beaten again. Unbelievable. That was it was a slow burner, that race, but it was absolutely fantastic at the end. It really was. That was just chef's kiss. That was fantastic. That's what I love to see. You know, we've gotten into some crazy races at Spa before. Absolutely insane. You know, 98 was incredible. 2000 was fantastic. 2008, an insane finish. You know, there's been plenty of great races. This is one of the good ones, I think. This is one of the very good ones. It was a nice, slow... It was like... You know what this race was? It was putting the kettle on, and it boiled and boiled and boiled, and then right at the end, the kettle boils, and you have a nice cup of tea. That was this race. absolutely sumptuous at the end. Fantastic. So, fuck it, here we are. 44 laps in. It's going to be one of the shortest Belgian Grand Prix I have ever seen in my life as well. It's not even been 90 minutes since that race started. And it's over. Absolutely unbelievable. Incredible. So, in the end, George Russell wins, Hamilton second, Piastri third, Leclerc fourth, Verstappen fifth, Norris sixth, Sainz, Perez, who did get the fastest lap at the end, Alonso ninth, Ocon 10th, Ricciardo just outside of the points in 11th then, just outside the points then, Stroll, Albon, Gasly, Magnussen, Bottas, Tsunoda in 17th, ooh, then Sargent, Hulkenberg in 19th, and Zhou Guanyu, the only retirement, 20th place when I assume his power unit gave up right near the start of the race. That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. That was a nail-biting end. That was brilliant. I love it. I love races like that. Like a proper... It's great to have chaos every now and then. It's great to have rain and all that other sort of shit, or maybe a big crash. Well, I don't like seeing a big crash for a big crash, but when it's, say, Singapore 2017, and there's a big moment, here's a couple of really big front runners for the championship taking each other out. Oh my god, now what happens? You know, things like that. The drama of it. That's always fun. Honestly, big crashes make me wince now. I think I've seen a couple too many go very wrong over the years, and now it's just, oh god. We've seen some crazy races here in the past, but that was great. I love a race like that, you know, just pure strategy, pace, catch me if you can kind of stuff. That was fun. That was very, very, very fun. And I tell you what, going into the final lap, I still didn't know. It could have been any of those three win. Probably a 1% chance it was Piastri, to be honest, but it could have been any of those three winning today going into the final lap. That is prime Formula One right there. That's fantastic. Shit like that is why I just keep coming back. Post-race interview hosted by Gunther Steiner. Shit like that is why I'm tempted to fucking leave every now and then. I mean, bless you, Gunther, but your time's over, buddy. It's time to get this fucking clown out the circus, I think. So, anyway, we'll do a quick run-through of everything. So, Russell, fantastic, brilliant. Hamilton, maybe he could have been a bit more forceful. Maybe he could have sent it a little bit harder, you know, really. He must, like, just lose a bonus or some shit if he crashes with a teammate. I don't know. Maybe Mercedes have said, you know what, we'll ditch you for Kimi Antonelli if you damage a front wing or some shit. Maybe they're really running close to the budget cap and they can't afford the spare parts. Who knows? Either way, Hamilton, for all my money, I would have bet, even going into the last lap, I would have thought that he would win today. So surprising, maybe a bit disappointing. Second's still good. Piastri, decent race. It's about as much as he could have done, really. Leclerc fourth, you know, starting from pole position. Didn't get the pole, but starting from pole position and didn't win is basically a tried and true Leclerc move. That Ferrari just isn't that great. I mean, I think if anything, it shows how good Leclerc is over one lap, especially in the wet, just how hard he can wrangle some speed out of that stinking red piece of shit. Verstappen fifth, decent recovery. I'm not like the last couple of years where he's just come through and just blitzed the fucking field and see you later. So things like that are going to make Red Bull very nervous. Things like that they just don't have the speed to come back really at all. I mean, how easy it was for them the past couple of years at this circuit to do the exact same thing. Give Max the engine penalty here because you can make positions. It's much better than doing it at Zandvoort. It's better than doing it even at Monza. Singapore is basically, you'd never do it there if you could avoid it. It's very worrying, I think, for Red Bull now that they don't have that sort of pace. That they just don't have that pace over the rest of the field, because it means, and we'll get to him soon, that it means somebody's seat is in a lot of danger. Norris 6, fucking disappointment. Real disappointment there. I think Norris just blew it today. I I think losing out at the start as hard as he did basically compromised the rest of this race. He couldn't get by Max Verstappen, who was basically being kept alive by Charles Leclerc's DRS. Just didn't work out for Lando Norris. He just didn't have the speed. He didn't really have it all together yesterday. He just hasn't really looked that comfortable with the car. I wonder if maybe something's playing in his mind from last week. There's 2 weeks in a row as well that he's been beat. 2 weeks in a row that he's been beat by Oscar Piastri as well. So that'll be playing on his mind too. I do wonder what kind of damage last week will have on Lando Norris. I mean, sooner or later he's going to forget it, but in the immediate aftermath, this was only a week since we were seeing what the fuck was going down in Hungary. So Lando, we'll see if he's going to make anything of a championship fight, and I don't think he will, but if he's going to make anything of a championship fight, he needs to come back absolutely swinging after the summer break, and McLaren need to decide to support him 100%. If he gets ahead, he stays there, basically. That's how they need to run it if they're going to make a fight for the championship. Again, I think they're too far behind already. I think they shipped too much at the start of the season, but whatever. Sainz 7th. Kind of a limp-dicked way to see out the first half of the season, really. Can't really do a lot. I mean, his strategy didn't really work in the end for Carlos Sainz. Didn't really move him anywhere, you know. Maybe he could have done a one-stop like Russell tried, but I wonder how far he could have pushed it in that car on those tyres. I do wonder. Who knows? Maybe he'll be wondering that too. And Ferrari are probably still going to be wondering about the strategy. In fact, they might be wondering about the strategy for the rest of the time, and they'll never have an answer. Checo Perez in 8th. I'll come back to that. 9th, Fernando Alonso, so decent recovery. It's about the most he could have got out of that package. I mean, look at him. There's the top 4 teams, then there's Fernando Alonso, which is basically his... Unfortunately, that's his bread and butter, being consigned to these dogshit teams for most of his career now. It's a bit like The Simpsons, isn't he? He started so strong, and it's just been petering out ever since. Only... I wouldn't say it's Alonso's fault. He's driving like an absolute fucking magical man possessed. It's just a shame he's not got the machinery underneath him to really do anything. And then Ocon in 10th, so great, another point for Esteban Ocon. Desperately needed point for Alpine as well. That will give them a little bit of a lift going into the summer break. They'll have a new team principal when they get back. They could be announcing the new engine deal by the time they get back as well. We'll see. I'd say if you're an Alpine fan, and I know there's maybe 2 of you ever, enjoy these days, because I don't feel like we're going to get Alpine that much longer in Formula 1. They say they will stick around, but everything points to them selling the team. Everything points to it. And if they kill the engine, I don't know why that team is there. Maybe they'll keep a stakeholder in it. Maybe they'll have a minority stake in it. I don't know, but to me, I mean, if it's got a Mercedes engine or whatever ends up going in it, if it's got another engine in it, it's not an Alpine, it's not a Renault, it's just Team Enstone. A bit like it was as Lotus or Benetton. Anyway, Ricciardo right outside the points. Fuck. Well, we'll see. Still a decent race out of Ricciardo. I'll have to go back and look exactly what happened at the end there, because I didn't see how he got passed by Esteban Ocon. So Lewis and Oscar just watching the highlights. It's an interesting idea that they're doing, actually, with this. But here these guys are. I mean, trying to get any kind of conversation out of Piastri must be like fucking pulling teeth. They're just sitting in complete silence. This could be the worst episode of this supposed podcast I've ever seen. Like, somebody play a fucking stinger. Get an air horn in there or some shit. This is dog shit. Dead air. Dead air, guys. Come on. So it is kind of nice seeing these like little moments. Lando locking up. Again, yeah. I think Lando maybe had a couple of chances today to do something and just never really took it. Anyway, After that, after Ricardo, Stroll, Albon, Gasly, all of them, thanks for coming. You kind of got nothing out of it. That's a shame. Haas are disappointing. Sauber, still no points, so fucking dog shit out of them. One car to the finish as well, no good. They are going to need a fucking minor miracle here to do anything before the season's out. I get the feeling anyway. One final thing before we sign off for a little while. Checo, I think this could be it. I think it could be it. I think today he had a great chance to win, starting second. He had a great chance to feature at least on the podium, and he finished 8th, 43 seconds behind the winner. And what is he, about 34 seconds behind Max Verstappen, who started 9 positions behind him. There's Kimi Antonelli on screen there. Could he turn up in Logan Sargent's seat next time out? We'll see. Who knows? This could be the end of Checo. It could be the end of Checo, at least for the season. I think there's a very good chance of that. And if it's the end of Checo for the season, there's a chance that it's the end of him in F1. He's getting on now. I think he's a good driver. I still do think he's a good driver. I've loved the guy for years. I really have. I was his number one fan. I was loving it when he won in Bahrain back in 2020. I was absolutely fucking stoked. I was stoked when he got the Red Bull ride. I was stoked when he got the podiums for Sauber in 2012. I was stoked when he got a podium at Monaco for Force India. I love, and when he won in Monaco as well in 22, I loved it. He's been a great driver. He's been great for Mexico, the most successful driver from that country. He's had a long history and a successful history. He's got Grand Prix wins, pole positions, finished second in last year's championship. He's done well. He's done very, very well. He's made a very good name for himself. And if this is the last that we see of Checo in Formula One, then that's a shame. It's a shame. Sometimes you go out on top. Other times you kind of hang around maybe a little bit longer than you should have. I mean, it's going to come to an end. These top 3 that we're seeing here, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri on the podium. These days are going to end. Even though sometimes with Lewis Hamilton or Fernando Alonso it seems like it's never going to end. But it will. It will end. It will end one day. And I think the important thing is just to enjoy it while we're here. And if you're a Checo fan or if you're following Formula One and you're following a driver, it's important to enjoy the days that they do well, because they aren't going to last. It's not like a football club or something that you can follow for 50, 60 years. These guys have a very finite time in the sport. And a sport as dangerous as this, God forbid, they have a very finite time on the earth as well. It's a shame if this is the end of Checo. Then I think he could walk out with his head held high. I do. I really think that. Podiums, poles, fastest laps, second in the 2023 championship, or the 22 championship rather. No, the 23 championship. Sorry, 23. Third in the 22 championship. He's done well. He's done very well. Very instrumental in Max Verstappen's first championship as well. So I think he's done great for his country, and if that's the end of him in Formula One, fuck, somebody give him an IndyCar seat, at the very least, if he wants to continue. Yeah. I don't know. It's a shame. It's a shame to see him suffering like this, but that's life. This is also sport. That's really all I got to say about that. Anyway, George Russell holds the trophy aloft. Good work. Good work, George. See him down here. Love the guy. Bloody love him. Very, very impressive, actually, out of George. I'll get out of that soppy, shitty mood. Let's go into the summer break. I'm going to say that's a very, very good drive out of George Russell. That could be one of his best. Could well be one of his best. Absolutely killed it today. I thought, for sure, I mean, I was saying it the whole race when he was saying he's going to go for a one-stopper, I was thinking it's mission impossible. Hey, it's Mr. Le Mans himself handing out that trophy. Good stuff. I didn't think I didn't think until maybe the last half a lap that George was gonna genuinely get it done today. So fantastic, absolutely fucking 10 out of 10. Let's say good race, 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. That's a solid 4 out of 5. It was fun. It was fun, and there was a lot of intrigue going into the very final laps over who was actually going to win the fucking thing. Bit of passing. It wasn't chaotic. It wasn't crazy. 3.5. Let's say a 4 out of 5 because the intriguing part was not for 5th or 8th or anything like that. It was for first place. And that's fun. And that's why we're here. Because we love the sport. I love the sport. I love the sport. I love going into the last lap not knowing who's going to win. I love everything about it. It's great. The drama, the action. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do for the next 4 weeks. Just stare. Stare at the wall and just wait. Wait for this to come back. I'm going to be thinking about F1 every day. I'm going to be looking at F1 every day, keeping up with the news. There could be a whole lot of things change by the time I come back. We could have different drivers, maybe a different team. Maybe Renault drops out entirely, who knows. But it'll be fun finding out. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I am John Wayne Gretzky. I hope you've had fun. I sure had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun to start the season. I'm going to have a lot of fun for the next half of the season, and it looks great. And I get the feeling Max will be the champion. But every race is going to be fun, because I just cannot pick a winner at all. Going into any of this, it's almost vintage F1. It could be any of the first... Could be anybody from the first 4 teams, except apparently for Checo Perez. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Maybe I'll see you again. I mean, I'll definitely be back. Maybe you'll tune in. Who knows? Anyway, it's been a whole lot of fun. I'm just babbling now. Thank you very much. I'll see you again after the summer break. Hope you have a wonderful time.